right, this is our last video for the unit. We are focusing on the properties. So properties, we're looking at the commutative, the associative, and the distributive. The distributive is going to be the big one that we're working on here. So if you want, you can put a little star up there. But let's first just talk about the commutative and the associative properties. These two are good to know, and you probably already know them, you just didn't know the name for them. All right, so I'm going to give you some examples. So the commutative property simply means the order in which I add or multiply two numbers does not affect the answer. Okay, so what I mean by that, if I said 5 plus 3, that gives me 8, but the same thing, if I do 3 plus 5, that is still 8. So the order in which I added did not change the answer. Okay, same thing for multiplication. If I say 2 times 6, that gives me 12, but so does 2 times 6. Okay, so either way, they're still going to give me 12. So the order in which I add or multiply does not affect the answer. And that makes sense to you, right? Okay, the big deal is that that does not work for division or subtraction. It does not work. So, I mean, that makes sense to you too, right? Because if I said 5 minus 2, that's not the same as 2 minus 5. I would not get the same answer. Okay, so it does not work for division and subtraction. Okay, the associative property, this is still looking at addition and multiplication and how we add and multiply, but it's with grouping symbols, so it will have parentheses there. So again, the order, so let's just say I have the exact same number. So if I say I have 5 plus 2 plus 3. So if I have grouping symbols, let's say I put my parentheses here, okay? So this would be, I would follow order of operations, so I'd have to do the parentheses first. So this is 5 plus 5, that would give me 10, okay? But if I have the exact same problem over here, but I change where my grouping symbols are, my parentheses, let's say I'm going to do this first. Let's do this. This would be 7 plus 3. It still gives me 10, okay? So if it's all an addition or all a multiplication problem, if I change where those grouping symbols are, it does not affect the answer, okay? So that is the associative and the commutative. Again, the big deal with those is that it does not work for division and subtraction. It does not work for division and subtraction. You cannot change the order of division and subtraction and think you're going to get the same answer, okay? But at multiplication and division, you can change your order and you'd be good to go. All right, the big one we're going to work on is the distributive property. Okay, distributive property. We worked on it a lot at the beginning of the year when we were talking about greatest common factor. Like if I had 20 plus 45, I pulled out the greatest common factor. Do you remember pulling out that greatest common factor? So the greatest common factor between these two numbers would be 5. So I pulled out that greatest common factor, and then I figured out 5 times what gave me 20? That would be 4. And 5 times what gave me 45? And that would be 9. Okay, so these two together is going to be the same answer here. So that comes out to be 65. And this comes out to be, well, 5 times 9 is 36. And if I multiply 36, what did I do wrong there? I'm adding there. Oops, that's where I messed up. See, I caught my mistake there. That's 4 plus 9, 4 plus 9. So that's 13. So 13 times 5, again, is 65, okay? All right, so let's check what that means now when we have variables, okay? So I have it in letter form, but sometimes that confuses people. So all of that means, this is what this means. So if I have A times whatever inside of B plus C, that simply means I'm going to multiply A times B first. If I get whatever that answer is first, then I add whatever A times C is. That's what that means, okay? So sometimes just using the letters confuse you, so let's use an actual problem here. So let's do the distributive property. So I'm going to multiply. If I distribute something, think about what distribute means. Distribute means that I'm kind of like, if I distribute papers, I'm going to pass it out. I'm going to give it to everyone. So same thing here. I'm going to give this 5, whatever is outside the parentheses, to everything on the inside. Okay? So, and another way you can look at this, well, I'll come back to it. So this means 5 times x. So that would be, because I don't know what x is, so that's just 5x, because I don't know what it is, plus and then 5 times 3. 5 times 3 is 15. And that is my problem. I can't do any more to it. There's nothing else to combine. That's it. And I'm done. Okay. Another thing you can think about this just means I have 5 of these, of x plus 5. This means 5 times x plus 3. So I have 5 of those. So that just means x plus 3, x plus 3, x plus 3, x plus 3, and x plus 3. So that's what that means. I have 5 groups of them. So if you look at it, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 x's. There you go. And then 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. 15. Okay. I could write it out all the time, but gosh, this seems so much easier. 5 times x just means 5x, and 5 times 3 means 15. Okay, not too bad. Okay, so let's do some examples. These are on your paper, I believe. Yes, they're on your paper. All right, so let's just distribute. We're going to multiply 5 times everything on the inside. So 5 times x is just 5x. Keep my sign, whatever it is, plus, and then 5 times 4 would be what? 20. I would recommend you do these little symbols for now until you just get used to it. Keep writing them down. Make the little symbols every time. Okay, it helps you out. All right, let's do one that's a little bit larger. All right, 6 times x is just 6x. Keep whatever sign it is, minus 6 times y. That's just 6y. Keep my sign, plus 6 times 3. That's 18. Okay, I'm going to look at these. I'm always going to look, is there anything I can combine? Are any of these like terms? Nope, they're not. So I'm done. That's as far as I can go. All right, here's one that's a little bit more complicated. Let's just work it out though. So 9 times 3x. So if you have it like this, you're going to multiply the coefficients first. So what is 9 times 3? That's just 27, and then you keep your variable, x. Keep the sign, minus 9 times 2, that's 18. Okay, keep your sign, plus 5 times x, that's 5x. Keep your sign, 5 times 8 is 40. Okay, this is a really long problem here, so let's look, is there anything I can combine? Let's see. Ooh, I see x's. I have 27 x's over here, and then I have 5 x's over here. So that means I can combine those two. So 27, and then you add 5 to it. So 27, 30, that means I have 32 x's. Ooh, let's look at this one. So I've got some combining to do. So let's look at the sign in front of it. Okay, so I have 40 positives over here. So I have 40, and I'm going to take away 18. Okay, so I have more positives over here. So that's plus. So that would be